I bought my 1997 Saturn 20 years ago, brand new as a factory order. In 2014, my car overheated during the smog test because the head gasket had gone bad. I replaced it with a new one, but because it was so much work, I wasn't ready just to get rid of the car yet. After I installed the new head gasket, I went back and the car overheated again, because the sensor no longer caused the fan to come on after replacing the head gasket. So I bought this device from Summit Racing, which turns on the fan once the engine gets hot enough. By the grace of God, I passed. 66 is the maximum for hydrocarbons, and I got 66 on the test. 2 years and 4,000 miles later, it was time to retest the car, and my luck ran out. The car sat for more than a half hour before testing because of the line. Then when the smog tech tested the car, he couldn't find the traction control button because it was covered up by my cell phone holder. The motor really bogged down as it struggled with the traction control blinking, trying to spin up the dyno. In general, the longer your car runs on the dyno, the more trouble it's having passing. My car ran the entire length of time allowed. The second time it didn't run as long with the wrong cat, and the final time with the correct cat, which yields the lowest numbers, it barely ran for 15 seconds. So now I had my first failed smog test ever, and the adventure was just getting started. I then called some exhaust shops and Napa and some other auto parts stores, but nobody could match my engine family code to the database. So I came across a 2-cat system, and I ordered the rear catalytic converter because it looked most like the original. A universal catalytic converter in California cannot just be used on any car. The EO number on the bottom side must match the engine family code for the car that it's going into to be correct for that car. In this picture, the EO number is D-193-113, and that must be installed facing down so the smog tech is able to read it. If it does not match, the tech will not test the car. If you're worried that your car won't pass smog, your best bet is to go to a regular repair station and have them test it and make any corrections to get it to pass. But if you go to a smog test and you fail, when you come back to retest, they're going to look at that car very carefully. Now with the new catalytic converter, I was off to get the car retested. Now the smog tech made a mistake. He couldn't find my engine family in the database. So what he should have gone by is make, model, and year, but he didn't know that. I requested that he test it anyway to see if the catalytic converter would at least solve the problem, and it did. After the car passed, he called his boss up. His boss told him don't submit the test, and he failed me for emissions tamper. Later on, I learned that had he submitted the test, I would have been okay until the next time I went to smog, and that tech would have seen the EO number didn't match my engine family and would refuse to test the car. I called the smog ref number, and they took my information. About a week later, I got a call back. The smog ref was awesome. He answered all my questions, and he gave me a step-by-step of exactly what I needed to do. The smog ref cleared up the issue about why my engine family code wasn't in the database. He said that because my car came with federal emissions equipment, not California, that it would not be in the California database. This is a special situation that very few people will run into. Another situation is where the sticker is missing or unreadable. I asked why I couldn't use the new catalytic converter that I had first installed. He said that because my car came with 1 cat, I could only choose a 1 cat solution, not the rear cat from a 2 cat solution. So I ordered a second catalytic converter and installed it. When I returned for the third and final test, the smog tech was so impressed by the papers I had printed out, he asked if he could have them to show to his teacher because he was studying smog repair. I also learned why the maximum allowed numbers had been reduced so dramatically after my first test in California many years ago. Because my car came from out of state, it only had to meet the standards of the basic test. Remember, anytime you move out of an enhanced area to a basic area and then you return to an enhanced area, you'll get a basic test the first time, then enhanced tests from then on. The enhanced areas basically have very poor air quality, and that's why they have the tougher standards. Basically, smog shops are on the run. The states put them in a difficult situation. They've come down harder and they're not willing to look the other way like they used to on cheating. For all cars 2000 and newer, the tailpipe and dyno test are eliminated. Now they just hook up to the computer and pull the codes. If there are none, then you pass. The only cars that get the tailpipe and dyno test are 96 to 99. Every year that goes by, there's fewer of those cars on the road, so there's less business. Take a look at this catalytic converter. It could have come from anywhere. Who knows what's inside? But because it looks old, they're not looking for any EO numbers on it. With super clean hybrids and electric cars, basically the whole smog test is going the way of the dinosaur.